Hey guys, welcome back to a new video in this channel. Today I have a really nice treat for you guys. We're going to be exploring a couple of new features inside of Unreal Engine, and I'm going to be showing you a little bit of an important thing that's going to be like a new standard in our industry, which is how to work with a tessellation or displacement inside of Unreal Engine 5. Because it's a method that's really different. It caught me off guard, to be honest. Some of you guys might remember from our last lighthouse video where I was trying to do the old tessellation method for the stones on the lighthouse, and I couldn't do it because that method is now deprecated. It's no longer included on the engine, so we need to find a different way to do it. So this video is going to be really important. I think you guys are going to like it. However, before we jump, you know we have the little commercial, so let's get to it. Hey guys, Abraham here. I just wanted to remind you guys that we upload all of our courses to Skillshare. Skillshare is this amazing site where you can access a ton of different content to learn, improve, and grow as an artist. We have all of our courses available to watch and learn from right now in Skillshare. You can check the description down here, and Skillshare is offering 1 free month trial to their premium membership. With this membership, you're going to be able to access all of our courses and watch and learn all of the amazing things that we cover with all of the softwares. So, what are you waiting for? Check Skillshare down here below. There we go. So let's jump onto our lighthouse scene here real quick, and today I want to show you how the new displacement map is going to be working, or how the new tessellation is going to be working inside of Unreal Engine. So before Unreal Engine 5, in Unreal Engine 4, when we were working with stuff like this, for instance, if I look for, I was trying to find like a rock like this one. If we wanted to work with an asset like this one, we would have a height map, a height information, black and white map that would push the vertices. We would tessellate, we would subdivide the object a couple of times, and then we will push the object like into position, right? And I'm going to show you real quick how to do that. So I'm just going to export this guy real quick. I'm going to export it here onto the desktop. Let's do FBX. Let's call this a cliff test. So I'm actually going to jump into Marmoset. Because Marmoset also has the tessellation thing built in. So if I go here into Marmoset and I import my cliff, which is this one right here, I can go into my texture objects, grab a material that has some sort of displacement applied to it. Like if I look for rock, like this one, dolomite sedimentary rock. Like you can see there's a silhouette. Like there's things going on here on the rock itself, right? So I can just double click here and just import it. Literally drag and drop it, and there we go. So right now what we're seeing here is we're actually seeing some displacement. You can see the displacement here. It's actually pushing the vertices up and down on our object. Now I can go to the texture and maybe like tile this texture quite a bit. Let's say like 6 tiles. Okay, so this is going to give me a lot of like information. And yes, the scale is like a little bit off. Let's bring the scale back to like 1. Well, 1 might be a little bit too much. So something like this, and you can see how this thing is inflating the object. So this is what we would traditionally do inside of Unreal. We would have our object, we would apply a displacement map using tessellation, and we would just like push things up and down on the texture thing. We can actually go here to the object itself, and we can change this option from Catmull Clark to peon triangles, which is the subdivision thing. I'm gonna subdivide, and if I go here to wireframe, you can see this is the current wireframe, right? I can give it like, let's say 2, maybe 3 subdivision levels. So we're at 500,000 vertices, almost 1 million triangles. And you can see this is way denser. And if we take a look at the object right here, well, of course, the displacement is going to look amazing, right? We're going to have this very cool looking effect. This would be no displacement. Like this is my original element from Maya. And if I start adding a little bit of displacement, you can see how we can push the rocks up and down and create a lot more like interesting effects right here on the element. So this was the old method to do things. Nowadays, we have something called Nanite. And Nanite is this new thing inside of Unreal Engine that literally takes all of these polygons, like this, almost 1 million triangles, into the engine and converts it into like some magical stuff called Nanite, which allows it to process it in a faster way. So technically, we don't need any more like depth maps. We don't need any more of this elements for things to work properly. However, since we don't, what's the word? Since there might be occasions where we're not going to be able to like actually sculpt these things, it is a good idea to be able to convert these objects into this sort of like nanite mesh. And I'm going to show you the workflow for that. Hopefully I'm not confusing a lot of you guys right now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to download this one right here because I really like how it looks. I think it looks quite nice, and I think if we map this here onto this surface, it's going to look quite nice. So I'm going to download this. And I need to export the textures, right? So I can't just like drag and drop my SVSR file. Actually, there is a plugin. I just haven't like tested it out inside of Unreal. But independently of that, here inside of Unreal, we need to import the cliff. I'm going to create a new folder right here. This is just a basic scene. And right now, we're also using something called Lumen. Lumen is the new like lightning engine inside of Unreal as well. That's gonna give us like really nice and realistic looks. Look at this. It just looks amazing. It's real reflections, real ambient occlusion, real everything. Look at that beautiful sky that we get here. This is a preset. This is like free for everyone to use. So I'm gonna go for this sort of like, let's turn off rotation. I want like a nice, warm, like golden hour thing. And here inside of my cliff test, I'm just gonna right click and I'm gonna import the cliff test. There we go. Just import this. Just a single FBX. We've done this before. We're just importing this inside of Unreal, and we just like literally drag and drop this one right here. We can even like zero this out. This is where it is on Maya, and you can see already. I mean, this looks amazing, right? Like just the soft light, the soft like bounces, the GI, everything. It just looks really pretty. I'm gonna delete that floor, and I'm just gonna bring this thing down. I think it's a nice thing. Let's bring it closer to the edge. Can you imagine how the lighthouse is going to look once we finish? I've been doing a lot of research. That's why I haven't continued with the lighthouse, because we're adapting everything to Unreal Engine 5. So there's my cliff. The cliff looks good. The geometry looks good. But the texture, like, there's no texture, right? And normally, we would do something called a tileable texture, right? We would grab, like, a texture like this one and just map it on the element. I'm going to open... Do we have... What's this? Oh, I do think we have... Oh, perfect. We have 3D Sampler. That's great. That way, we don't have to open... we don't have to open the Substance Painter. We can just export it from here. So this is the texture, the blocky desert rock texture, as you can see right here. Very cool texture, very nice. We have height information, as you can see there. We have color information, everything. I'm just gonna go here into share. I'm gonna export as, and we want to export the base color. We want to export the normal map. We want to export the roughness, and that's it. Or we can just go here into the presets and say, please export me as Unreal Engine 4. It's going to give me the things that we normally need. 2K is fine. I'm just going to go here to the desktop, and just to keep things a little bit more organized, let's do cliff test. There we go. So just hit export, and that's it. That's why 3D Sampler is also really good. If you haven't seen the 3D Sampler video, the one with ZBrush, go back in the channel and check it out, because it's really cool. So if we take a look at the folder, you guys are going to see that we have a base color, displacement, emissive, normal, and roughness, occlusion, metallic. So we're going to grab these 4 textures right here. We're going to jump into Unreal. And we're going to drag and drop them right here. And we're going to build our traditional material. This is just like a very basic material. This one right here. Let's change the name. Let's call this M Cliff. There we go. And I mean, it's a simple connection. This is nothing too complicated, nothing magical or anything. It's just we have our color. There's the base color. We have our normal map. That's our normal map. We don't want the displacement right now because we don't have anything. We don't have tessellation anymore, so we're not going to be using the displacement here, but we're going to be using it somewhere else. And this one, remember, very important, we need to turn off sRGB to make sure that it's not like color managed. And the R is the ambient occlusion, and the G is the roughness. We don't have any metallic. Everything is just it's non-metallic, so no metallic elements, and we just hit save. So now, if we just, there we go, as you can see, the texture, it looks okay, right? I mean, it looks very nice. It's a nice texture, but the problem that we have is that this is, of course, occupying a lot of space, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to type in text coordinates. That's the node that we're going to be using. It's a very similar node that we use in a lot of softwares to repeat the textures, and we're going to plug this in all of the UV channels, and we're going to say, you know what, give me 10 and 10. So we're going to be tiling this texture 10 times. And most of the textures that you get from Substance Source are tileable by default. So this should give us a nice element. And there we go. I mean, this looks not that bad, right? Like, it looks okay. This is what you would normally see on a game, like on the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Genshin Impact. Like, this is what you normally see. You see, like, a nice sculpted rock, and then you see things mapped on top of that thing. It looks okay, but we can make it look better. And here's where things are gonna start getting tricky. Here's where the actual information, like the new information, comes into place. First of all, we need to turn on a plugin that is available in beta state right now, which is called the Modeling Tools Editor mode. The modeling tools are literally modeling tools inside of Unreal, so you can actually like model stuff and like create things or modify your meshes without having to go back into Maya. So if you need to do like basic bevels or extrusions or stuff like that, you can actually use this thing to modify it. Once you turn this on, it's gonna tell you to reset your engine. Just reset it and that's fine. And then we're gonna go here and you guys are gonna see that we got the modeling option available to us. So now anything that we select, we can like modify here with the modeling like toolkit. I'm gonna call it the modeling toolkit. I know that's not the name, but it's just this thing right here. So what we want to do is we want to actually create the displacement, like displace the geometry, modify or subdivide this object like several times and displace it so that we get and use this element right here to really push the vertices and create like a really dense mesh. Otherwise, we would have to go into ZBrush and do this, but we can actually do it here. So I'm going to get to the deform options and I'm going to select this option called the displace. By turning this on, it will give me this sort of like preview. Right now, nothing is happening, and the reason nothing is happening is because we have not set up things properly. By default, this thing is going to be set, I believe, to purling noise. And as you can see, there's displacement. Like, my vertices are being displaced. I'm pushing all of the vertices. Now, this is already quite a dense mesh. Like, when we brought it from Maya, this was already a very dense mesh. As you can see, we are at 282,000 triangles. So that's quite a lot, which is not what you would normally do in the game. But it's part of the example. And right now we're subdividing this 4 times. So this thing right here is just like immense in regards to the amount of polygons that we have. And we can see them right here if we check this wireframe option. So as you can see, those are all of the points that we have. Look at the density of these things. It's just ridiculous, right? So there we go. Now, in order to use this texture, which is the real texture that we want to use because it matches the texture that we have here, we're going to change this to a texture 2D map. And down here, we're gonna drag and drop this texture on the top of this element. Now, it's not looking good because this texture is not tiled properly. So since this is in beta, sometimes you need to like reset stuff. So even though I already had like the 6 set there, right there, I'm gonna have to go back and reset this to 6 and 6, or I believe, was it 10? It was 10, okay. So I'm gonna set this to 10 and 10. There we go. So now the displacement should match the same amount of elements. We're gonna go here to the displacement intensity, and if we start pushing this, we should start seeing, there we go. Now we're seeing how we're pushing all of the vertices up in the image right here. And you can see that it matches. Like we can see the big lumps here on the image and the small lumps everywhere. Now, of course, this is way too much. That was 86. Let's go back to like 20. And of course, the more subdivisions we have, the nicer this is gonna look. Let's go to like a 50. There we go. Look at that. Now this starts looking quite nice. You can see like all of this nice little fragments and pixels like pushing up and down. And as I mentioned, depending on the amount of subdivisions that we have, it's gonna be how nice this is gonna look. So if we go, I'm gonna go really crazy here. Let's go to 8. Oh, okay. So 4 is the maximum number of triangles. We're getting this thing. So okay, we're at the max number then. There's not much we can do right now. We can modify this displacement amount. So for instance, it was set to 1. We can go to like a 0.5. Let's go back to 1. I think 1 look nice. There we go. So 1 looks nice, but 50 might be a little bit too much. Now you can see there's a seam right here. This is the UV seam that we have. So we're definitely going to have to bring this thing down a little bit. Let's try 35. Let's see how that works. Okay, that's a lot better. So we are getting some of that displacement. You can see that the stone is not like perfectly lined up. That's good. And we are getting like a nice change in the silhouette of the element. It might be a little bit too much even. Let's go down to 25. I don't want to push this like extremely. There we go. That's a little bit more workable. So now the problem is this is only a preview. Like we're only previewing this thing, and yes, we are seeing like the nice displacement of the stone, but it's not actually being applied to the geometry. And this is very dense because this is actual geometry that we have here. So we're gonna hit accept. That's the first thing we're gonna do. And what's gonna happen is all of the polygons that we have right here are now gonna be like there. We're gonna have them really appearing really appeared here on Unreal. Like we had like a quarter of a million polygons. Now we're gonna have probably like 8 million polygons, but it's fine as long as the computer can handle it. We should be fine. Let's just wait for this to convert this. Like we're actually creating this high poly mesh, and there we go. So now this thing right here is actual geometry. If we check the wireframe, just look at the again, this is just ridiculous. Look at the amount of triangles that we have. Like a game would never be able to run with this amount of triangles. It's just too much. It's just too much, right? However, we have them. Like it is working. We can see this working here inside of Unreal. And I believe we can even hit play. Yeah, there we go. And we have our character. And look at this. Of course, the collision box is not like working properly, but you can see all of the detail on the ground like properly working. And it's just a random texture that I selected, and it's running. It's running like nicely, right? Now, in order to make this efficient, in order to use the proper workflow that Unreal and Epic want us to use for game production, we need to convert this object into a nanite mesh. And the easiest way to do it is just double click this guy, go into the object. You can see right here we have 2,272 triangles for our element. And I'm just going to enable this, enable nanite support, and I'm going to bring this fallback relative error down to 0. This thing right here, this is a special setting that I want you guys to remember. This is going to make sure that it looks exactly as what we're seeing right here. It will be a little bit more expensive. Like if you keep this at 1, it's a little bit more performance friendly. But if you don't care about performance and you're just doing like renders and stuff, this one works really well. Just 0 and hit apply changes. Now what's going to happen is this 2,370,000 polygon cliff is going to be converted into this magical thing called nanite, which is not going to be processed in the same way that traditional polygons are processed. So it's going to be super fast on the engine. We can have multiple of these guys, by the way, and we're not going to have any performance hit. It's just going to be running like seamlessly because it's no longer polygons. It's now this thing called nanite. So yeah, I really don't know how to explain it. I'm not a technical artist, so I'm not sure what nanite is or how it does it, but it's just magical. Like, look at this. Like, you cannot see the difference. Like, I show you this thing right here, and it's exactly the same thing we had before. Like, with all of the details, all of the displacement, everything. It's exactly the same thing, but now it's nanite. Now we have this big chunk, and you can see that it's nanite because if we go to wireframe, yes, we see all of those little triangles, but it's no longer like... what's the word? Let's see if we can see the nanite here. Nanite. Can we see it? No, I can't see it. Well, but you're gonna have to trust me on that one. Like this is actually this is nanite now. This is working as a nanite mesh. You can also see it down here. If we go to there's a new nanite option. Where is it? Not sure, but yeah, right here you can see enable nanite. Nanite's enabled. So now this thing, as you can see, we no longer get the what's the word? We no longer get the amount of triangles. You can see that we have this nanite triangles, 2,372,000. And the way this works, or it's supposed to be working, I'm not sure why the overview thing here is not working properly. But what's supposed to happen here is the closer I get, the more triangles we get. So right here, we can see like all of the triangles. But if we get far away, we're going to see like just big chunks of triangles. And the great thing about this is I can just grab this, duplicate this, like play around with this. And now we have like a completely different section. Let's duplicate it again. So this would be like, if we really like take account of how many polygons this would be, we're talking about like almost 10 million polygons now, right? But look at this. Like imagine building a world completely out of nanite. It's just amazing. And again, the collision box are not like perfect, but you can see that my character can run here, and the way everything looks is just so much better. Now, right now I'm using just a texture, and it was just a 2K texture. If I were to export this as a 4K texture, and if we could get the displacement to look even prettier, we would be able to create just amazing results. And yeah, again, just look at this panoramic view here of a basic level, and you can't say that this is not amazing, right? So this is the future of technology, guys. This is nanite working. These are, again, tileable textures. Imagine like set dressing this with bushes and crates and boxes and stuff, and yeah, we would have like everything. I'm gonna do something really like stupid right now just because I want the thumbnail on the image to look really cool. I want you guys to get excited, so I'm sorry if this is a little bit of a fake out. I'm just gonna duplicate everything here, combine it, and then assign just the like normal Lambert material to that. So as you can see, it's just like it's just the basic shape of the whole thing. File, export selection. Let's call this lighthouse model. Let's go here. Import. I know I'm cheating. I know this is cheating, but I just want these things to look really, really pretty. There we go. We'll just bring this thing in. Let's zero this out. And I did move this thing slightly like forward. Look at this. So yeah, I mean, it just looks amazing, right? It's just I'm always amazed by technology and how fast we're moving, because trying to do this like a couple of years ago was just it was a dream. It was a dream to be able to do this sort of thing, and now we have all of this like realistic light and everything. Just amazing. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'm gonna stop the video right here. Hopefully this trick with Nanite and how to like use the displacement information that you might have baked with your textures and project it on your geometry to create a Nanite geometry is going to be helpful for you. We're going to keep moving forward with this. We're going to keep moving forward with the character. We're going to keep adding more stuff or we're going to talk about more tips and tricks and stuff. So yeah, you guys know that your support, your what's the word? Your likes, your shares, your comments are always welcome. They always help us quite a bit. So make sure to leave something there for us to read. And yeah, thank you very much, guys. I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.